Attention parents. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the teachers' unions control you and your kids. And that should scare the bejeebers out of you. Let me explain. I'm Katie Petrick, and this is Healthy Republic. You care about your kids' education. Joe Biden doesn't. Kamala Harris doesn't. And we know the teachers' unions certainly don't. That's why your kids are still stuck at home, not getting any sort of real education. Let me know in the comments. On a scale of 1 to Derek Zoolander Center for Kids Who Can't Read Good and who want to learn to do other stuff good too, how far behind do you think your students are this year because of the education lockdowns? Also, please share this video. It's for the children. Let's be honest, if you presented Joe Biden with a Ben Stiller dedicated building replica as a template for the way schools ought to operate, he'd be on board, even if they can't fit inside the building. That's actually their hope. But hey, while your kids are not being educated, the president is doing all he can, which includes walking with the world's greatest doctor of education, wife Jill, who also cares so much about the kids that walking the front lawn really solves the world's problems.
I just wanted some, joy, and I think things have been, so with the pandemic, just everybody's feeling a little down, so it's just a little joy, a little hope, that's all.
A little joy, a little hope, still no education. For his part, Joe is talking his usual nonsense, trying to not sound like the true elitist he is.
She said, I understand that you and your wife have a great love affair. And I said, I hope so. And I said, but everybody knows I love her more than she loves me. And she said, look me straight in the eye, I said, that's what everybody says.
That's the President of the United States. Can you see why we are so screwed? But CNN continues to prove their love to Joe with the latest in-depth analysis involving Joe Biden going to bed early and lighting a fire in the fireplace. Hard-hitting journalism at its finest. Where's the Pulitzer, I say? This is an actual story praising Biden for his structure and routine, and how he actually sometimes puts a log onto the fire himself. Wow, so brave. Clearly, this story shows he's working tirelessly because he's not tired. So much sleep. We already knew this, but it's a full-on masturbation environment between the Biden administration and the media, like what is being encouraged at the University of North Texas. I wish I was making a joke. But this is the focus on college campuses, wearing a mask while masturbating, and the focus for our leaders and the media is to masturbate one another. This is just one of a million reasons why your children will not receive an actual education. On the note of 1 million, let's pivot to the lies that continue coming out of the Biden administration regarding vaccines, which we are told is the reason for keeping the schools closed. And the blatant lies come courtesy of Kamala Ding Dong, who continues to wait in the shadows for Joe to choke on his own stupidity. She's always there, and it's so creepy, but still not as creepy as Joe being Joe. Anyway, Kamala Ding Dong is out there peddling the lie that the Biden administration had to start the coronavirus vaccine implementation program with zero help from the Trump administration. That there was absolutely no plan in place, and everyone was just twiddling their thumbs.
I mean, the challenge, Mike, is what I explained to the mayors. There was no stockpile, right? It's in many ways
No stockpile
of vaccines, right? So we're looking at this. There was no national strategy or plan for vaccinations. We were leaving it to the states and local leaders to try and figure it out. And so in many ways we're starting from scratch on something that's been raging for almost an entire year.
Excuse me, but why is she only wearing one mask? Where's the second, third, and fourth masks? Does she want to kill everyone? I mean, in addition to Joe Biden, But to her claims, there was no plan on the federal level, only to those dang states and localities. You see, she's just bitter because she wants complete control. And there were only about 1 million vaccines being distributed per day by the time Donald Trump left office. Looks to me like something was being done. But liars have to lie and say no stockpile, no plan. Even the brilliant, never flip-flopping flopster of a saintly, God-appointed Dr. Anthony Fauci, even this demigod had to be like, hold up, Kama Kama Kama.
Is the Biden administration starting from scratch with the vaccine distribution effort, or are you picking up where the Trump administration left off?
No, I mean, we certainly are not starting from scratch because there is activity going on in the distribution. We're coming in with fresh ideas, but also some ideas that were not bad ideas with the previous administration. You can't say it was absolutely not usable at all. So we are continuing, but you're going to see a real ramping up of it.
You see, the former madam of Willie Brown got her definition of scratch mixed up.
She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like in
And
college,
I inhaled. I did inhale.
Okay.
But then Fauci had to flip it again and defend his future master.
What I think the vice president is referring to is that the actual plan of getting the vaccine doses into people's arms was really rather vague. I mean, it was not a well-coordinated plan. Getting the vaccines made, getting them shipped through Operation Warp Speed was okay. But I believe what the vice president is referring to is what is the process of actually getting these doses into people?
First, don't you mansplain to her. And second, no, she meant start from scratch. And the one who is supposed to be in control, but we know isn't, reiterated how they supposedly started from scratch.
When you and I talked last, we talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office. The vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office. The vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office. The vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office. But a vaccinator. How do you get the vaccine into someone's arm?
Is that like the Terminator? Who for Joe will be Kamala. Yes, all the conspiracy theories today. It's got to make you want to share this video, if nothing else, which you can and should do right now. I'll wait. Okay, moving on to other women who probably choke up like the VP. I mean, if you decide to be a dance teacher in Chicago who puts out a video about standing in solidarity to not return to the classroom until it's safe and about not choosing between life or death by being said dance teacher, you must be high on something. And they called the video "The Moment We're Safe." And then the Chicago Teachers Union tweeted out the video because solidarity. If you get queasy from stupidity, consider this a warning to avert your eyes now.
Make it make sense. Safety is essential. Keep our students and our teachers safe.
Your tax dollars at work, team. And that's all that is at work, because here's the thing. Teachers unions don't work for you or your kids. They don't care about you or your kids. They care about getting the dollar signs for their teachers for the least amount of work. Exhibit A. We hear about the Red for Ed movement led by the teacher unions. It means the teachers protest instead of actually teaching. At this protest, a sign said, "The future is in our classrooms." Which is true, but you are not there to teach them. And now we know no one is in the classroom because politics is keeping the students out, at home, alone, without any sort of education because, again, teacher unions just want their teachers to get paid for not doing anything. And for some of them being science teachers, you know what? They're not really following the science. We know the children are not transmitting the virus and that the teachers aren't any more special and at risk of death from the virus than any other adult in the workforce, especially not the people who've been on the front lines this entire time and not complaining or calling in. Thank you, nurses and doctors. It's a tough pill to swallow for the teachers since, as I know from experience of being in the educational program and the classroom, educators are constantly told how special they are. Warm fuzzies from the SNAP Cup. The CDC director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, just said the schools should be open.
But I also want to be clear that there is increasing data to suggest that schools can safely reopen, and that safe reopening does not suggest that teachers need to be vaccinated in order to reopen safely.
But we'll circle back to the federal government's role here in true Press Secretary Jen Psaki style, who then refuted what the doctor said as being her saying it in her personal capacity, despite the obvious that she had the CDC banner behind her.
The president, let me be crystal clear, wants schools to open. He wants them to stay open, and he wants to do that safely. And he wants health and medical experts to be the guides for how we should do exactly that. So we're just not. Dr. Walensky spoke to this in her personal capacity. Obviously, she's the head of the CDC, but we're going to wait for the final guidance to come out so we can use that as a guide for schools around the country.
Where I come from, we call that talking out of both sides of your mouth. That's today's lesson for the children and adults alike. It's all a giant lie at this point. Yes, COVID is real and there's a danger within it, but there is also living, which comes with a risk every moment of every day. And we have chosen to put the politics and selfish desires by our federal leaders and teachers unions ahead of our children for months and months. When is enough for you? Until next time, stay healthy, America.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Most of you know our show is being censored by big tech.
While this makes it harder to meet the cost of producing the show, that's part of it. It also demonstrates that we must be having tremendous success, or they wouldn't bother to try to shut us down.
If you like hearing truth and common sense with a love for freedom, please join the Patriot Club with a one-time $99 tax-deductible donation. And you'll get this sweet vessel of joy as part of a thank you for joining the Patriot Club.
Etched with the American flag and the words freedom never tasted so good.
All you have to do is visit patriotclub.us and become a Patriot member today.
That's patriotclub.us. Thank you and God bless.